Hello, I'm Bernard Hickey from interest.co.nz and welcome to a special economic weather report brought to you in association with the Bank of New Zealand. Perhaps it should be an economic landscape report because today I'm going to look at the economic fallout from the Christchurch earthquake and whether it really is our biggest natural economic disaster. Prime Minister John Key this week said that the Christchurch earthquake should cost around about $4 billion, and this was the worst economic natural financial disaster we'd ever seen. But is it really? We all remember back to the 1931 February earthquake in the Hawke's Bay, which demolished Napier. I used to spend quite a bit of time in my youth in Napier and remember how it had completely changed the landscape of the city and destroyed many buildings. In fact, one of the reasons Napier is now so popular is that a lot of buildings were completely rebuilt in the Art Deco style. Now, Christchurch hasn't suffered the same complete demolishment, but the costs will be very high, up to 0.8% reduction in New Zealand's GDP in the September quarter, although all the money that's being spent in the subsequent quarters will actually boost GDP overall. That doesn't detract from the amount of wealth that's been destroyed. Now, that $4 billion cost is around about 2% of GDP. Let's have a look at what happened in Napier in 1931. The estimates vary, and it's very difficult to get data which is easy to compare with today's disaster. But the records show that between £7 and £16 million was the cost. Doesn't sound like a lot, does it? Well, actually, in New Zealand dollars today, that's worth about up to $1.4 billion. So that's less than $4 billion. But when you look at the GDP of the day, the Napier earthquake destroyed value of around about 2.4% of GDP, so just slightly more than the disaster in Christchurch. So it was actually more damaging. And of course it happened at the time of the Great Depression, so it really hit the economy in New Zealand hard. So there we have it. It's all a bit academic, but it's worth challenging this idea that the Christchurch earthquake is the biggest natural financial disaster we've ever seen. It's at least as big as the Hawke's Bay earthquake of 1931. I'm Bernard Hickey. That was a special economic landscape report brought to you in association with Bank of New Zealand.